PJ Washington has got to step it up. Next season, without Kyrie Irving for the majority of the season, the Dallas Mavericks will be leaning heavily on Anthony Davis for our offense. And although Anthony Davis can definitely do that, at this current stage in his career, you don't want to risk further injury by leaning too heavily on him for offense. And although we do have other scoring options like Klay Thompson, Najee Marshall, even Max Christie, you definitely want someone else that can reliably score at least 18 to 20 points per game. And that player will have to be PJ Washington, who in his own right definitely took leaps and bounds as far as his scoring, his efficiency from last season to this season. But next year, we're going to need him to definitely take another step to help out Anthony Davis, just to prevent any further injuries until Kyrie Irving returns. So, in this video, we're going to take a look at PJ Washington. How good was he last year? Actually, what could he do over the summer to improve on his game? And what can we expect from PJ next year? But how's it going, everybody? My name is Marcel Martin. This is Mavs Digest, bringing you the latest news on everything Mavericks related. And before we get started with today's video, we're currently sitting at 20,378 subscribers. Just want to say thank you guys so much for all the love and support. But as always, it may be the off season, but it's not my off season. Still here to bring you guys your regular Mavericks content. So make sure you subscribe. But like I said, PJ Washington will definitely have to step up this next season. Without Kyrie Irving, we're down 20 plus points per game. And although we've seen this team play well without Kyrie around Anthony Davis, everybody else is able to, in their own way, shape, and form, contribute to our offense. But we all know that Anthony Davis will be the focal point going to next year, and we will need other guys to step up just so it doesn't seem like we're leaning too heavily on AD. Don't want to risk injury. He's a little bit older. You can say he's injury prone. He's dealt with injuries. I mean, right after we traded for him, he got hurt. And to prevent a repeat of last year, we need everybody to step up yet again. And that player could be PJ Washington, who definitely took leaps and bounds this year compared to the year that we traded for him. And I know it's hard to tell from all the injuries, time missed, and the whole fiasco of this season, but PJ Washington did in fact improve. If we take a look right here, just between last year and this year, I highlighted his stats between Charlotte, Dallas, and combined, and below that is the stats from last year. So for the Dallas Mavericks, or at least for the entire of last season for PJ, he averaged 13.6 points. Well, this past season, he averaged 14.7, so he did go up just another notch as far as scoring, and even on rebounding, where we all know that PJ Washington is the one player that we rely heavily on rebounds. I mean, earlier in the season where he was injured, we felt the loss. Last year, he was averaging 5.3 rebounds. I'm sorry, the year prior, it was 5.3 rebounds, and this past season was 7.8. Definitely took a step there. But the one thing that he definitely improved on that a lot of people are overlooking is his three-point shooting. Last season, he was averaging around 5.5 threes a game, but shooting at only 32%. Well, this season, that increased. He was shooting 38% on 4.2 attempts. So less attempts, but better percentage. The 6 whole percentage points on 4.2 attempts shows me that he's learning his shot selection. He knows when to shoot the ball. And although he's had games where it doesn't look that good, overall, PJ has taken another step in his shooting to be a much better 3-and-D guy for the Dallas Mavericks. Even his field goal percentage. Last year, on about 11 attempts per game, he was shooting 44% from the floor. This past season, still about 11 attempts per game, 45%. So in those few areas, slowly but surely, PJ Washington is improving for the Mavericks. And I don't want to just say that we need him to be an all-star level player right now. You got to take another 10 steps for this upcoming season without Kyrie. I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is that there are certain things we need from PJ and certain things that we don't need from PJ. One of the things I think we can all agree on is that PJ Washington cannot handle the ball. If he works on it this summer and he gets better, sure, we can throw him out there sometimes to bring the ball down, but I have seen way too many instances last season of PJ bringing the ball down that almost always resulted in a turnover. And this isn't something new. We saw this the season prior when we traded for him, especially in the playoffs between him and Derrick Jr. bringing the ball down and almost losing it. There was actually a game this season past where PJ had 9 turnovers, and almost every single turnover was when he was bringing the ball down. So that's one thing that you definitely don't want to see this upcoming season, but there are still a few good things. If we take a look right here, here we go. Yes, the one thing that you don't want to see is the PJ Washington in his elimination game in the second round of the play-in tournament. In 27 minutes, he had 0 points. He was 0 for 5 from the floor, 0 of 3 from 3, but he had 4 turnovers. Flight on steroids. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, it's not good. And obviously, this is not an indication on who PJ Washington is. We all know who PJ is. He's Mr. Stand on Business. He's going to be our best defender and rebounder and our supplementary scorer. And without Kyrie Irving, he's going to be our secondary scorer. So that's another layer of responsibility that he will have to be ready for. Anthony Davis can't do it all. He's not going to be able to average 30 plus points per game and stay healthy. He'll give you a nice little 20 plus, maybe 25, 24, but then we're definitely going to need PJ to step up and help the rest of the team by being another reliable scoring option. And I really do believe that he can be that. I mean, he's still young, still growing, still learning. He can definitely do that. Being a ball handler, maybe not. A better scorer, I think that's something that PJ can definitely do. An article that came out just the other day, Mavericks need PJ Washington to escape brutal trap, derailing his path to stardom. So let's see what this article has to say. Shout out to the Smoking Cuban. They do good work over there. But the article says PJ Washington must continue his shooting excellence in new role. Another player who's been affected by the Doncic trade is PJ Washington. He played well when Doncic was in the lineup, as he was the team's hard-nosed defender. Offensively, Washington could shoot from all angles and wasn't afraid to get his shots the hard way. He also did well catching and shooting the ball, as Doncic helped open up his opportunities. And we all know that when you play with Luka, you're going to get wide open looks, and obviously PJ benefited from that. This season, he only had about half the season with Luka, maybe even a fourth of the season if we take all the injuries into account, but he still played very well, showing that development. But the article continues saying, however, Washington does have his flaws. For example, the season before last, he struggled shooting the ball from downtown as he shot 31.4% from three. This is a statistic that worried many Mavs as they were never really sure which Washington that they were going to get. In his first month with the team, he shot 28.7% from long range. There were multiple games in which Washington couldn't make a single three-point shot as he went on various cold streaks. His numbers jumped in April when he shot 37.5% from the three-point line. Washington's shooting performance continued to rise as he dominated in the playoffs. He shot an astonishing 46.9% against the Oklahoma City Thunder. So yes, just like I said, PJ's shooting has been a little bit up and down since we got him. It's gotten a lot better overall if we look at the big picture. But one of the things that happened when we first got PJ was no one knew how good he was actually going to be on offense. I knew that his defense was going to be solid. If he can't score, he can do a lot of other things. His offense will get there in time. It's all about being comfortable and finding your rhythm. And now we've seen that with PJ. He's gotten over those slumps and those woes. And although he had a very horrible game 2 of the play-in, there was another player that also had a pretty bad elimination game, and that was Klay Thompson not too long ago, where he went scoreless in the Warriors elimination game, going 0 of 10 from the field, 0 of 6 from 3. But Klay Thompson redeemed himself. He did not have another scoreless game in the play-in tournament. Unfortunately, it did go to PJ. But Klay Thompson is definitely the prime example of being able to bounce back from bad performances. But the article does continue by saying Washington struggled at the beginning of the season as his shooting slump reoccurred. He shot 25% from the three-point line in October. It was a concern that worried Mavs fans as his playoffs numbers seemed non-existent and he went back to his old ways. His numbers gradually increased throughout the season. However, in the team's final play-in game, Washington struggled once again. He missed all 3 of his three-point attempts against the Memphis Grizzlies and went 0 of 5 from the field. This is something that can't happen in the future as Washington has transitioned to a new role since the Doncic trade. Before the trade, he was a team starting power forward alongside either Lively or Gafford. Now, Davis has slid into Washington's old role. This means Washington has transitioned to the 3 spot. And that's another thing that a lot of fans were worried about, that Anthony Davis alongside Gafford or Lively at the 5 and PJ at the 3 won't work. And that PJ doesn't know how to play a small forward. He only knows how to play a power forward role. And I'd argue that that's not going to be too difficult for someone like PJ to get accustomed to and get used to and excel in. It just takes time. Not just playing in that role, but playing alongside Anthony Davis. The things that we relied on PJ, we're not going to necessarily ask anymore. We got Anthony Davis for that role. Now we need PJ to just be a wing defender, a wing scorer, attack the basket when you can, shoot the 3 when you're open. Honestly, it's the same thing that you've been doing, just a little bit different. You're defending a quicker wings than you're used to, which a nice little summer of conditioning can fix that, but it is something that he has to get used to, and that's why PJ needs to step up. A whole new role, a new position. You're playing with another star that has a whole center of gravity around him, but you are still going to be asked to perform and perform better than you have the year prior. But the last thing that we're going to look at right here, the article says, as mentioned, Washington was a good three-point shooter last season and made huge improvements in that department all season long. He converted 38.1% of his shots from long range, a 6.7% increase from the past season. This means that with him starting at the small forward spot, he must continue shooting at a high level. It's the only way the Mavs' new lineup can be effective. If you break down the lineup, it's obvious the team's front court will need all the shooting help they can get. In 9 games with Dallas, Davis shot 23% from the three-point line. So having Washington adjacent will only work if he can shoot well. And yes, Anthony Davis shooting 23% from the three-point line is not good at all. That's not how we're going to win games, but that's why PJ shooting 38% or 37.9% last season is what's going to help this team. Klay Thompson, another year older, but he can still help us out by getting more shots. Same with Najee Marshall. Same with all the other guys on the bench and everybody on the Mavs roster as we wait for Kyrie Irving's return. The key to this team's success next season will rely on our supplementary players scoring, specifically PJ Washington, now that AD has pretty much slid into his role. But you guys let me know in the comment section down below. Do you think PJ's our X factor for next season until Kyrie comes back? Or do you think it's Najee Marshall? Maybe Spencer Dinwiddie? Let me know what you think in the comment section. We can have a conversation about it. But that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for making this far to the video. Make sure you check out our Twitter and Discord. Links in the description below. Consider becoming a channel member. We are doing a giveaway every single month on this channel. Only way to enter our giveaways is to become a channel member of any tier. But till next time, y'all take care. Drink water. Peace.